Hi, I'm Karl-James Langford, and lots of you that watch my videos know that I'm a YouTuber, but I'm also a professional archaeologist. I've got a master's degree in archaeology, I'm also an author, I'm an actor, and so on. And I place half of my content on YouTube based on the classes I teach. I teach a class every week about a different subject, and I've been asked to do this specific video about a specific video because I undertook to do a video about Roman mining in Britain. And for those that know me, they will know that I am very much anti-establishment in archaeology, and I'm certainly not one of those that signs up to the establishment line on history and archaeology, but I was teaching about Roman mining in Britain. Roman mining. Now, if somebody asked me to do a video on industrial mining in Britain, it wouldn't mention the Romans. If somebody asked me to do a video on medieval mining, it probably wouldn't mention the Romans either. But because I didn't mention any of our ancient British ancestors in the video, I've got about 3 or 4 people after my neck for not mentioning previous people in Britain for their mining activities before the Romans. So I can't win. So one thing I would say is that many years I was introduced to the copper mines at the Great Orme and Llandudno. That's mining well before the Romans, and the mining activity at the Great Orme is extremely extensive. So we're going way into the Copper Age in Britain about 4,000 years ago, and the tools that they were using were quite crude. Antler hammers, for example, and they were able to extract thousands of tons of copper from the Great Orme, and that's way before the Romans. When we look at mining as well from the pre-Roman period again, in the sense of gold, we must have extracted many tons of gold from the wonderful land of Cymru well before the Romans, because what we do find is that there's a large amount of gold being used in the Iron Age for talks and various other things. And as for iron mining, that must have been extensive in Cymru as well. Iron mining must have been extensive in Cymru as it was for the rest of Britain. And the one thing itself, and I don't think this video was specifically meant to be about Cymru or Britain, but we'll just do Cymru anyway. Most of the iron mining, for example, that would have given us iron talks, which we've never found in our Iron Age context, but would have been out there. Lots of iron being mined in Wales and across Britain before the Roman period. Most of those areas where industrial activity is occurring is then being overtaken by the Romans, and any earlier activity is obliterated. This is why we don't come across it in archaeology. There was an extensive lead mining in Britain, but the fact of the matter is the Romans would have gone into that area, exhausted the seams, and that's why we don't get any evidence. It's the same with tin mining. Everyone knows, every man and his dog, that we've been tin mining in Britain for 4,000 years, but the fact of the matter is all that tin mining evidence has been exhausted by future generations. So trying to find any earlier evidence is impossible. But due to metallurgical analysis, we know that all those metals that we've already mentioned, including silver, is actually coming from Britain. So before anyone spouts off and actually accuses me of being establishment, and I actually start saying that I'm pro-English and I'm all this, I'm a sovereignicist, basically somebody that believes in more than the independence of Cymru, and I believe that I believe far deeper than people accuse me of things. And when I'm doing a specific video, it's about a specific reason. It's not about my specific sense of bias, which I'm not meant to have. I'm just trying to put across what people want me to teach. So in answer to your question, we've got extensive mining evidence before the Romans in all areas, but unfortunately, other than the copper mines and Llandudno and axe factories at Penman Mire and so on, and say the likes of flint mining at Grimsgrave, most of it's been completely destroyed and obliterated by the Romans. The Romans weren't stupid. They would go where previous mining activity was. So it's in tribute to the people of this country before the Romans that we've actually got the Romans mining that stuff in the first place. So anyway, if you want me to expand this any further, it's taken up time in my evening, which I haven't got because I'm extremely busy, and hopefully I've answered some of your questions. And thank you very much. Karl-James Langford, Archaeology Cymru, and let's